Yeah, speaking about on the mat and how, there's kind of things you learn at the beginning. I want to talk a little bit about training right now
Yeah, yeah.
and how people can develop. I think it is a good through line, so we should always refer back to philosophy. I think that's a beautiful point that you made. But talk to me about at the beginning of your training. What did you struggle with? What part of your game did you have to learn? Did you take more time to learn? Or what part of your game did just came naturally to you?
Yeah, so for me, again, because I started young, it's kind of changed over time for me. But initially, it was just humbling myself because I hate losing. Yeah. So, like, for me, that was a big thing. And I think, again, like a lot of young lads and young girls too struggle with loss.
Yes.
And humility is a big thing. And again, I don't want to draw too far away from the sport of jiu-jitsu because again, there's other things I struggle with too, like again, learning to work off the back. But again, like that comes from a place of humility, right? Because you're doing something that you're not as proficient in instead of choosing to do what you are good at, That's how you get better in life as it is with jiu-jitsu. But yeah, like initially I was learning to work off my back more because I like to have a good top game. That was a biggie. And then recently what it's been is learning to flow roll, learning to train with the idea of what is useful rather than just trying to win. Because I think also that's how you avoid injury. I talk from experience too. Like I dislocated my elbow like quite badly last year. And
Damn elbow, yeah, I don't want money, you're injured. I'm an idiot, man. I know it's my fault, so it is what it is. You just want to blame the world. I shouldn't have based. Like, I was wrestling and I flipping put my arm out and it just went literally like up here, bro. Like it was just mad. So
yeah, like that's a big thing I'd say that I've been learning recently is actually training with the idea of how can we get better? What do I need to improve on? We're both trying to help each other. It's not always about winning the round, and learning bodily awareness and that this is a combat sport. You need to protect your own body, and it's not so much about winning. It's also about defense. It's about bodily awareness and knowing when you're in a bad position. I better not do that actually because I might dislocate my flipping arm. These are good things to learn from. So yeah, that's probably how I'd respond to that one. Yeah.
That's super important. I think that's so true because I think at the beginning, speaking from my experience, right, my kind of first 6 months was like a trial. Like it was like every single time I'd go, I'd get submitted, and this is obvious, right? Everyone who's done jiu-jitsu or any kind of grappling or even combat sport knows that for the first kind of like 6 whatever months, you're useless. So everyone's there knows exactly what you're not good at, and so they will continually submit you. And I think one important thing is when you're very early on, if you can keep going, that tells you a lot about yourself. Because you're not going there to like obviously have fun, but you're going to be submitted. You're going to get. So I think a lot of time, I think at the beginning was like, how can I improve my defense? Just because of the fact that was just naturally what was going to happen. I was going to get submitted. How can I last around without getting submitted? How can I? It was like just taking a little bit by step, right? And then like slowly over time, you start to figure out, okay, I can probably last around. How can I nice submit the other person?
Yeah.
And so it's like a lot of the time for me, I was always good in like close guard.
Yeah.
Like if I could get you in close guard, I could maybe find a way for you not to submit me.
Yeah.
I think like that, like learning your skill set and what you're good at through kind of loss and like through always losing and knowing, okay, I get submitted very, very easily if I'm like, I don't know, if the guard is open, if I'm like from standing, or if I give my legs, I'm fucked because like straight away it's leg lock.
Yeah.
Learning those things and then learning how to like adapt to them as you go session to session is so important.
Yeah. What was I for you? 100%.
Yeah.
Everything you said, I agree with. Good tip for people who are beginning as well is to understand you're never going to be good when you start. And that's all right. Even if you're physically gifted, like obviously there's exceptions. If you've got a flipping NFL athlete, like a rugby player, sitting in the scrum who comes to play a bit of jiu-jitsu, roll around, learn and play around and get better. Obviously against the other newbies, you're going to crush them. But the thing is, you have to go on that. You have to undergo that process of loss to get to that point where you can start doing your own stuff. From a defensive position, that will become your offense eventually, So
that's very good. Go on how you learn from defensive beat.
Again, like you at the start, like you said, you're often just defending, but from that position, you might even see things they do to you as well. and you learn from that too. And also learning to relax. And when you learn to relax in bad positions, you also learn to think, what can I do now? You know, so it always starts from that position of being under the fire, and then you can sort of learn to be comfortable there, which is ultimately like why we all love it. Right? So I think that's important to remember, in my opinion. Yeah,
I completely agree. I think like when I started to not be tense, I think at the beginning everyone kept telling me you're too tense, because I would be like, it would be like I was always like expecting them to do something in every single moment. You know, it's like you're obviously you're grappling and you're sparring, and I was expecting it straight away. I was like, they're gonna make a move. I was always thinking, instead of being calm and like kind of accepting that when they do something, I'll be able to react rather than always being tense.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like even when they were having me in bad positions, I was trying to get out all the time, and it was like, no, calm down. Yeah, when they try to go for the, you know, to finish the position, that's when maybe you have a little bit of time to try to slip out. You know, it's like all these little things that you have to learn, and you can only learn on the mat. You know, I think that's also important too. Like, talk to me more about the camaraderie, like the kind of like the. That's something I learned in jiu-jitsu very, very early on, like how close you become to the people you're rolling.
Yeah, like this. I mean, look, yeah, when you're both trying to strangle each other 5 minutes, you know, after that, it's not much. There's no line drawing. You can just talk about anything, literally. Again, like, this is why it's cool that Plato used to. I mean, allegedly, he used to sit by the mat between rounds, which I just think is so cool. Because, like, what do we do between rounds? That's what we do. Or after a session, we got completely slumped.
Imagine he's like, what's the forms?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So I find that side of it really cool, and that you can be like, how are you, man? After a good round, it's like you could suddenly, it's like, oh, I'm all right. How are you? Like, and it's genuine. That's like in life, you walk around the office, especially in business. It's like, how are you? Tell me you're good. Leave it there. That's how people think. In jiu-jitsu, it's not like that, and it's a brother and sisterhood. I think that's beautiful. Trying to refine and improve each other. Also, like going to clubs together and stuff, that brings you together, you know, because you're going as a team.
Literally, which is cool. And then you're always like bigging up each other too when we see someone else rolling. Yeah, I want to get into comps in a bit, but okay, talk to me about your training schedule recently. What's it been like, and what you trying to improve on? What you working on?
Yeah.
Is there anything specific?
Yeah. It depends on what I've got on. So, it obviously, like jiu-jitsu, like everything, it comes in seasons. So, if I have a comp or like a fight or what, then I'm much more inclined. At least you should be on the mats 3 times a week as a minimum. But it's important not to get obsessive about these things. I'm talking about like comp vibes. I did even more for 4 times, 5 times. People are different, obviously, and they take information in differently. But I think, yeah, for me, I would at least get 3 in, and then also strength and conditioning, at least get 3 in. I feel that for injury prevention, and also just generally like being in top shape is very, it crosses over with jiu-jitsu a lot, and it's important to do both. Again, like when I did my boxing match as well, it was only like one that I've ever done, but that was also at least 4 times a week down the boxing gym, working in the gym too to keep strong, and running. I love running as well. So I feel like it's majorly important. Some people go, you're never going to be able to simulate the type of cardio that you get on the mats. I'm kind of inclined to disagree. I think running opens your lungs up, but that's me. You know, people train differently, so that's how I feel anyway. But yeah, I say at least 3 sessions, and then at least 3 weight sessions too. But that's my approach, and obviously it depends on who you are. GSP talks about this. I think it's quite cool. He was big on gymnastics, and he used to mix that in with his training.
Oh wow!
Yeah, which is cool. And he used to try to keep it fun, especially even in camp. He would do like the rings and stuff because it was fun as well as functional, and it would translate it. And GSP also spoke a lot about overtraining. Okay, that's not a problem for me, right? Yeah. But GSP talked about overtraining, and he would have people, and you'd be like, oh, like, you know, you weren't training today. And he's like, I'd say it's my rest day. And then GSP's like, this guy's like killing it in the gym, and he's like not working as hard. What's going on? But at the end of the day, like we are machines, so you need time to rest, and also your brain is a machine. It needs time to take information in.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So everyone works differently. Again, like I speak as a hypocrite because I need to train more anyway. But that's a sort of that's something I find interesting. Hearing it from someone like GSP who's been there and done it. he's like, you know, if you're a full-time athlete and you're in the gym 7 days a week, maybe you'd benefit from just having some time off, letting your body recover, actually. So
I don't 100% agree. I think anyone who trains jiu-jitsu, they kind of feels like guilt about like they don't train enough. But that's because we love it. We want to be doing it more.
yeah,
Not because we're like lazy or whatever. But we do feel that. But I think it's so important too, because a lot of the stuff, you know, when I was preparing for this episode, a lot of the stuff that I saw was about like how important rest is. How important rest and recovery is for all athletes, you know, but especially for physical activities, because you're doing so much to pushing your body so much. You know, you mentioned how you do jiu-jitsu, then you do strength training too. So it's like you're exerting so much pressure, but a large part of how your body recovers and improves is through rest.
Yeah.
So talk to me about that. When you started, you know, doing both, and you know, obviously whenever you're in that mode of preparing for a competition, how important have you found rest to be? Like, how important do you think that is also to avoid injuries and stuff like that?
yeah, I think it's so important. Like, sleep as well. Yeah, again, hypocritical I am because I don't sleep enough. It is important. And you'd be surprised at how much difference that makes alone. Yeah. Habib says this all the time. Sleep is king. Yeah, everything. You know, it's the biggest PED there is, sleeping.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so that's a biggie. And then obviously as well, like recovery, like ice baths, I think they do definitely help if you have them facilities available. Also though, like learning to work with injuries, I think, is something that a lot of jiu-jitsu guys are so bad at. Like myself, I'd be like, oh, my knee's fucked. It's fine. I'll just sit in side control. Like, or I'll take half guard and let me work from half guard, and that'll be fine.
I'll do one hand. It's like, dude, like you just sit out.
Dude, like, yeah, literally in a sling.
Yeah, in a sling, just trying to like.
So I dislocated my elbow. That was a biggie as well.
Learning to sort of step back a bit, watch, and that's helpful too.
Yeah.
But yeah, like learning to balance sort of where your body's at and also listen to your body.
People ignore their body all the time, but your body's trying to tell you something. If you're really tired and you're not just, you know, when you're lying to yourself, like it is clear when you're lying to yourself. Maybe, all right, cool. If you go again and then you're still fucked, so all right, cool. Then I know that my body's not lying. Take a break. Have 1 day off. It's not gonna hurt. You know. Again, I need to have more days in the gym. That's the idea. You know, especially in competitions. If you're a pro, you know, I hear so many pros talking about how they take their approaches. I think it's useful to learn from them. And my biggest example is GSP. I think I love his philosophy and the way he approached training.
Okay, talk to me more about that then. You mentioned GSP, you mentioned Khabib. When you watch jiu-jitsu, when you watch MMA, who are some of the fighters that you admire, and why do you admire them?
Yeah, that's a good question actually. Yeah.